I say, is this thing on? Hello? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Doomspathar, we need more power!
Certainly, Master Flavius. Inserting another power crystal into the crystal power crystal matrix machine.
Marvellous! Here we go. Hello there! My name is Lucien Flavius. I'm a scientist, philosopher, amateur, wizard. No, that's not me. That's the character. Sorry, no. Hi, my name's Joseph. Lovely to see you. I hope you're having a wonderful day, full of sunshine and rainbows and squirrels, if you like squirrels or whatever. Welcome to a YouTube modding workshop. It's the first one of these we've done on YouTube. We've done like over 100 of them on Twitch, I want to say. I have no idea how many of them we've done. Someone could probably count. We've done lots of them over on Twitch. But now we're doing them on YouTube. Or at least this one will be on YouTube. It might be a regular thing. We might end up going back to Twitch. We'll see. But at the moment, we're going to be doing a modding workshop on YouTube. Now, what is a modding workshop, some of you may ask? And I hear your confused cries. What we're going to be doing today is working on my mod for Skyrim, which is Lucien, which is a follower mod, which you may or may not like, depending on your general disposition towards high-voiced, squeaky nerds. Umpty6, Starrel says. Well counted, Starrel. Appreciate that. So yeah, we're going to be working on that, and we're going to be doing it in this creation kit. You're going to be able to watch everything that I do and make your own suggestions and comments and things. We might get onto some voice acting, we might not. We'll see how we go. Probably be predominantly writing and implementation today. However, if any of you are working on mods of your own and you have questions like, Joseph, how do I do XYZ thing? You are very welcome to ask, and I will show you. I'll demonstrate in the CK. It can kind of be a back and forth. It's usually good fun, and if you've got no questions, we'll just crack on with doing today's job, which is starting work on Lucien's Dragonborn DLC Interactions, which don't exist yet, but we're going to be starting them, and that's something that I'd like to have in there for version 1.7.0, whenever that should be ready, which will make Lucien comment on the Dragonborn questline, which will be fun. It's quite a fun quest line, and it's fairly straightforward to do commentary for. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it, really. The tricky bit is that it's been quite a while since I've actually played the Dragonborn questline. So that's where you folk will be particularly useful, because I'll be looking it up on UESP, reminding myself of the various stages. Look, the chat's just caught up. It's over that side. There you go. I'll be reminding myself of the various stages and things, but I'll need you folk to chime in and remind me, you know, of anything I've missed or I've forgotten or I'm remembering wrong about the various quests and things that we're doing commentary for. We can always go back and play it again, but that's quite time consuming, and I only played it again specifically for doing interactions with, well, I guess it was probably about a year ago now or something, but we already did a mini playthrough of at least the first few quests of the Dragonborn DLC, specifically for this purpose, like a year ago, so I'm reluctant to start doing that yet again. Yeah, we're going to give it a go, and yeah, chime in, ask any questions you have, tell me I'm marvellous if you want. Or don't, if you don't think that's true. Yeah, so we're going to do that. Here's a question from original name 610. Hey, Joseph. Hello. Just a question. Fire away. Will Lucien get Dawngourd dialogue? The answer is yes. I would like to do Dawngourd dialogue for Lucien. I have talked about it in my interview I did with Colin. It's something I'd really like to do. However, it is a huge faff. Can't lie, huge faff. Really difficult and time-consuming and lengthy. And therefore, to be honest, right now, what I'm keen on is to try and just get going. Let's get some results. Let's do something that people will be pleased to see, but isn't too tricky for me to do. You know, so Dawnguard's really difficult to do because it's got the branching quest line, you know, the split, which is just such a pain in the CK. Both it's a pain to implement, it's a pain to write. Oh, a faff. Something that's difficult. It's a pain in the neck. It's time consuming and tricky. That's what a faff is. For those of you not up to date with the UK slang. I say up to date. That's very much an old person thing to say, but there you go. So that's what we're going to be working on. A hassle or a fuss. Those are also good words. So we're going to do Dragonborn basically because it's easier, and I want to just get stuck into creating because I haven't really created anything new for Lucien for the last few months really, because I've had to take a bit of an extended break because of all my life stuff that was going on. However, we're now going to pick up. A question from Kevin the Prince of Dragon, who I'm going to do in a French accent because I'm whimsical. Bonjour, Monsieur Joseph. How big do you think the Lucien mod will be after the third quest is added? Like around 500 megabytes? And the answer to that, my good friend, is I don't know. Why do you think I'll know? I'm not... it'll be bigger than it was before? Like... I can't... I'll try and keep it... Probably won't be 500 megabytes bigger. That sounds like quite a lot. But... it depends on how much dialogue we end up recording and everything. Anyway, right. Someone's saying Lucien won't have any dialogue with Serana, ? Yeah, I'm not planning on doing dialogue with Serana, certainly in the vanilla game, to be honest, because you have to splice the dialogue, and I'm not a big fan of splicing dialogue. I did it when the early days of Lucien. I always found it, let's use that new word we just learned, I always found it a faff. Alternatively, hassle, fuss. So, and I was never very pleased with the results. I was always like, oh, it just doesn't sound very convincing. So I don't really like doing it anymore, so I'd rather spend the time on other things, like interactions with modded followers, or indeed with, just doing more stuff for Lucien to say in the main game. That's the stuff I'd prefer to do. More questions as ever. The usual question, will Lucien have dialogue with XYZ other follower mod? We've already got 2 of those and we're only 5 minutes in. Just to knock those on the head to start with, I never comment on which follower mods I might do interactions with in advance. I just don't. That covers anything. I can't tell you because they're so difficult to make happen. That it requires coordination between different mod authors, sometimes teams. I'm really difficult to work with because my schedule is all over the place. And I just never say... I do not want to publicly commit to any interactions with any other follower because everyone will then just keep going, oh, when are those interactions coming, Joseph? When are they coming? When are they coming? Are they coming? Are they ready yet? And I might eventually have to say, no, we haven't started. We haven't been able to line up our schedules, or no, we can't do it, or no, we've fallen out, or no, that mod author's retired. I'd much rather, the only stuff I will commit to is the stuff that is entirely within my power. Because that I know I can follow through on. Anything with other people is just a silly to commit to it in advance. However, I am working on follower mod interactions. There are several people who I should have got in touch with months ago because we started work on it and I fell off the face of the planet because of all the stuff going on in my life. And I will be getting in touch with them again soon and picking up the ball on that. Because, I really want to have them in. And indeed, when you look in the creation kit in a minute, you'll see a number of things titled Top Secret, and those are things I can't talk about. But there are things being worked on. So, there you go. And I would much rather just release them as a surprise, as we did with Inigo. When I did the Inigo interactions, they were a surprise, and people seemed to like those. I think that was quite good fun. Gary and I had a great time doing them as a surprise. So yeah. You'll probably get them as a surprise, and you'll get what you get. Hello, Regan Saunders. Regan Saunders? Saunders or Sanders? Saunders? Hello, Regan. I've been well, thank you. Thank you for asking. It's been a busy old week. But I'm doing all right. It's very warm here in the UK still, so I've got my water. Remember to hydrate. And doing all right. Looking forward to doing some modding, some modificating, mod making, mod. why hasn't the Inigo voice actor made any patches for the quest mod? So Gary is not the Inigo voice actor. Gary, well, he is the Inigo voice actor, but I mean, he's not just the Inigo voice actor. He is the creator of all of Inigo. He is the whole lot. So let's not trivialize him down to just being the voice actor. He's everything. And what he's always said is he's prioritizing the main game. He's always wanted to just work on the main game, you know, get that, because there's so much of Skyrim itself to do interactions for. And indeed Inigo's own story and everything. He's always said he'd rather prioritize that than doing patches, which is a very sensible path to take. However, I am a scatterbrained, fool with all sorts of different pans and all sorts of different pies. And pans in pies? Pans in fires? Pies in the oven? Beans in the tin? I don't really know. But I like to do loads of different stuff, and therefore I pick like different mods and things to do interactions with based on whimsy. And that does mean that you keep getting different things released. If I saved it all up for big updates, then it would be years in between updates and you wouldn't get anything. Whereas when I can do these little mod interactions, you know, when I can do these little interactions with this thing or that thing, then I can usually get them done quite quickly. You know, they're much smaller projects, so I can turn them around quickly and release them quickly. And that's very satisfying and fun to be able to do a small project like that and release it. So that's what we'd like to do. Lucien does comment on many towns and cities, Ethan Leverins, but not specifically on entering. He comments on them randomly while in there, which is more or less the same difference. Right, thank you for the sweet roll, King, most appreciated. Are we in the kitchen now? No, we are not in the kitchen now. However, we were conversationally. It's like a conceptual thing. As Czech says, that would be the sensible way, but I'm doing it the Joseph way, which is always much more fun, I find. Anyway, I love that, Pablo. Right, so, yes, without further ado, beating around the proverbial bush, let's jump into some mod making, you know? So I've got the creation kit open already. YouTube isn't deleting your comments, Czech. I can see everything you're posting. Many messages from Czech coming through. So maybe try refreshing on your end. Do I read posts and comments on the subreddit? What subreddit? I have no idea what you're talking about, Matchafish. Do you mean the Skyrim mods subreddit? Please elaborate. But no. I do have a Google alert for Lucien Skyrim minus LeChance. And sometimes it pings me. To my knowledge, there's not a Lucien subreddit, no. But if there is, that's news to me. Please do elaborate. What was I just saying? Oh yeah, I have a. Oh, thank you so much for being a channel member, Christy. Most appreciated. I have a words. Yes, I have a Google alert thing set up, which I occasionally just use to just keep up with what's going on. And sometimes it pings me saying there's this discussion that's getting loads of comments and things about Lucien, and therefore I'll sometimes give it a read and just check that there's no one saying anything wildly untrue or anything like that. But I generally don't spend my days refreshing the Skyrim mod subreddit in case anyone's talking about me. Thank you so much for the what is it? A super sticker? Yes, I'm trying to learn this. Super sticker. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Scarlet Willow. That's really kind of you. Most appreciated. I love the little unicorn. It's very cute. Right. Let's do it. Instead of keep saying that we're going to do it, let's actually do it. So I want the screen with camera. And we are streaming, we're streaming in 1440p. Oh yeah, I'm HD than I usually am. Higher def. I don't know whether any of you have noticed or indeed care. But YouTube, this is another benefit of being on YouTube rather than Twitch. YouTube has, for everyone, it has resolution scaling. You know, the thing that like encoding options. So whereas on Twitch, we always had to stream in 720p so that it wouldn't buffer for people who were on higher, for people who had slower internet. Like on YouTube, I can just stream in 1440p at a high bit rate. And then if you're not getting, if it's buffering or whatever for you because your internet isn't good enough, you can just reduce the res. How great is that? Twitch do have that feature, but they only give it to like certain people, like partners and like the top percentage of affiliates. So we never had it when I was doing Twitch streams. They might have changed that in the last few months, but that was always the problem. So it's really nice. You can see me. You see all the pixels and everything. Ah, there isn't a subreddit, just a thread. Okay, that makes sense, Matchafish. But no, if you want to talk to me about ideas and suggestions and Lucien things, your very best bet is to post them here on a stream. Tune in. Let me read it and have a conversation in real time. That's always the best way. Because I don't do DMs on the whole. I have a massive backlog of Nexus messages that I haven't replied to. And the Discord, you can post on the Discord, but there's no guarantee I'll see it because I don't like religiously read every message on the Discord because I just can't keep up with it. So yeah. Yes, it's a Boggart plushie. Look at him. It's Bert the Boggart. This was the prototype Boggart plushie that was made for the Treacle people when they were considering doing merch for it. But ITV were never able to strike a deal on that, so it never happened. But there was a prototype made. This is the only one in the world, and it's mine. So it was my dad's, but I thought it was better. I had a better home sort of with me while I'm working on this stuff. Thank you so much for the super chat, Ryan. Really appreciate the support. Yes, I've definitely heard of SDA. And as I say, I don't comment on which ones I might do interactions with in the future, but I am very much aware of it, yes. Anyway, I have never played Undertale, I'm afraid, Kevin. Someone did buy it for me a while ago to stream it at some point, but I've never got round to it. But I would love to play Undertale at some point, but I've not played it. I know nothing of it, really, apart from that it's got the little skeleton dude in it. What's his name? Sans. Does Lucien have any dialogue? We will mod. Sorry, I keep saying we're going to mod, but this question's still coming through. Does Lucien have any dialogue with any dogs you have with you? Yes, Vigilance and Miko. Well, he doesn't actually talk with Miko. He has, like, comments on Miko, whereas he does talk with Vigilance. Why? Why do the comments do this? I don't know why the comments keep, like, updating very sporadically. I don't know what's going on with that. But yes. And last... no, I promise, Mr. Video Freak, if I'd ever played Undertale, I would remember that I'd played Undertale. I don't know what that is, Logan, so no, we don't have Chick filler? Never heard of it. But that might just be me. I'm quite out of touch with a lot of things in life. So yeah. Right. Anyway, come on. Modding. Right, so I'm going to banish myself to my octagon, which is down over here on the right. Whee! Hello. And now you get infinite Josephs. Briefly while we're on the screen. I should have set this up properly. Here we go. Right, creation kit. Now I'm hoping this is sort of the right size for you all to see, for you all to know what's going on. Let me know if you can't read the text or anything, but I've got it in 1080p, which is kind of the best I can do. So, you know, I need enough sort of real estate on my screen to be able to actually see what I'm doing. But anyway, the infinite Joseph's now gone. You're now back in with only a single Joseph on your screen, and we are here in the creation kit with Lucien's various quests, and we're going to create a new one, which is for Dragonborn. Wherever it is. Here we are. Right. J.R. Lucien, Dragonborn. And I'm going to give it a priority of 50. With infinite Josephs, you could get so much done. Although, here's my theory, is that the scale of productivity with number of Josephs is a law of diminishing returns. I feel like 2 Josephs, we'd be slightly more productive. 3 Josephs, we'd be a little bit more productive, and so on. But the more Josephs you have, the more we'd sort of bicker and distract each other and get confused. So I feel like if you had an infinite number of Josephs, you'd just reach a sort of plateau of productivity, which would not be that much to get done, really. And also, where would you put them all? Like, there isn't space. So, no, it wouldn't work. Okay, so, I've lost it. here's the thing. Right, priority, I'll give it a 50, so it slightly overwrites the generic dialogue's just slightly higher priority for the engine than that. And we're going to jump into the quest dialogue conditions and just say get is ID, because the only person who's going to be talking in this particular quest is going to be Lucien. So we're going to say get is ID, and we're going to say J.R. Lucien. Just like that. And that equals 1. And that means Lucien's the only person who can talk in any of these scenes, which saves a lot of time. I'm also going to set it up because I don't actually want Lucien to say any of this dialogue while he's sneaking. So we're going to say get, is it get is sneaking? I always forget this. No, not get is sex. Is sneaking. Is sneaking. That's what we want. Is sneaking. And that's going to be equal to 0. So he's never going to say any of these lines if he's not sneaking. Now, if he is sneaking. Now, a quick note on his sneaking. I've said this a lot on various previous tutorials and streams and things, but I'm going to say it again. Never, ever, 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 ever put is sneaking at the top of your condition stack. If you're modding yourself, you're recording dialogue, don't put is sneaking at the top of your condition stack, because it will cause the game to crash anytime the player talks to a talking activator. Because this condition stack is evaluated anytime the player engages any NPC in dialogue. The get is ID says only Lucien will respond. You know, it says only Lucien will be available with this dialogue. If you and then it says, okay, that isn't true for everyone except Lucien, so therefore we won't bother evaluating anything else. But if you had is sneaking at the top of the condition stack, it would evaluate is sneaking every single time the player talked to an NPC. And when the player talks to a talking activator, is sneaking doesn't work. Talking activators can't sneak. And the game's like, I don't know what to do with this. A talking activator, by the way, is like the Augur of Dunlane or the Daedric Prince statues. It's something that doesn't actually have an NPC associated with it, but you can still have dialogue with. So if you try and evaluate is sneaking on a talking activator, the game's like, that can't, it's a rock. Rocks can't sneak. What do? And crashes. And that's bad. So is sneaking should always come after something that eliminates the talking activators. Yes, exactly. The statue of Mara is a great example in alternate start, live another life. Aslal, that one, the one with the statue. That's a good example of a talking activator. Anyway, yes. So, and also, if you're testing your mod and you're like, oh, why does it crash whenever I talk to a talking activator? It's probably because of this. So check all your dialogue stacks to see whether you've got an is sneaking condition at the top of the stack. Do I plan to give Lucien more dialogue with more anniversary content like Ghost of the Tribunals? I plan to give right. In the long term, I would like to give Lucien interactions with every quest in Skyrim, every DLC, including all the Creation Club stuff, including all the Anniversary Edition stuff. I'd like to have all of that, all covered. However, that will take a ridiculous amount of time. That will take many, 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 many years, and I'll probably have aged to death by the time that I am able to do that. So, I vaguely plan on doing all those things, but I don't know when I'll do them. I don't know what order I'll do them in. And if I were to say, and I've fallen afoul of this before, if I announce to people, next I'm going to work on Dawnguard interactions, it completely stalls my development, because if I'm going to go and do some modding on a stream or something, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to work on Dawnguard interactions today. And then, so I don't do any modding. Whereas if I give myself the freedom to work on what I want to do, even if I don't want to do that particular thing that day, I can go and work on something else. How fab is that? It's better. So so I can't tell you whether I'll ever actually get around to doing things on like Ghost of the Tribunal or whatever. But yeah, it's vaguely in the pipeline. I'd like to do that someday. And yes, Starfield is about to complicate things. Will be very interesting to see how that goes. And of course, life does always happen as well. But I was talking really about Lucien stuff. YouTube is telling me now would be a good time to insert ads. Creators earn more money inserting ads the more viewers are watching. Give it a try. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to insert an ad into the middle of the stream. The only time I'm going to do that on these YouTube streams is if I'm taking a break. If I have to go away and like get a drink or something, I might run an ad then. But otherwise, I think just throwing an ad at you is quite disruptive, really, to the stream. So I prefer not to do that. Because in theory, you know, that will help the stream grow and everything and might result in more channel memberships and things in the long run, which I feel like is a much better way of doing things. But let's see. You know, there will be ads obviously on the VOD afterwards and everything, and there are ads when you click through onto the video. But yeah. Right. Sippy. Someone asked what's a piece of dialogue you love for Lucien that people probably rarely will hear? I've released one of them. There are several conversations between Lucien and Inigo that only play if they're both naked in various situations. Like if it's naked and they're snowing. Sorry, if they're naked and it's snowing or something. Like there are a couple of really specific things like that. And it's not possible to make Lucien naked anyway, normally. So it's only very specific situations, like with like the ring of undressing from the Saints and Seducers mod, or whatever. So it's very rare that anyone would come across them, but they're super niche. There's one of them on my channel, and there's a couple of other ones there that no one will have ever really heard, but they were quite fun to record. Oh, did Colin do a video of it? Oh, cool. Anyway. Also, someone asking me about the how to make a follower mod list. Jonas, yes, I absolutely will include a thing on how to make on training Lucien. And I was just going to say, oh, thank you so much for the super chat, Ryan. Really appreciate that. And that super chat there is worth more in terms of like earnings and stuff to me than it would be to run ads for the whole stream, like every half an hour. You know, that one super chat just covers all of that, which is why I you know, thinking of not doing the ads, because it's such a tiny amount you get from the ads. So that's exactly how it works. So long as like one person super chats per stream, I'm in the green on the ads front. So it's a much better experience for everyone. Okay, hang on. Right. So the how to make a follower mod like Lucien Flavius thing. I want to continue. I'm planning on continuing. And in the interests of continuing it faster, I'm planning on starting recording it like tomorrow or something, the future episodes of it. And when I record them, I'm going to be recording them live. So we'll be streaming them. I'll be streaming the recording process for those episodes, but as a members only stream. Because what that'll do is it'll motivate me to continue doing it. It'll make it a bit less of a solitary process because I'll have people in the chat. I'll hopefully get a bit of feedback of like, oh, that didn't really make sense. Can you do another take? Or that take wasn't very good. Can you maybe explain this while you're at it? So I'm thinking it'll improve the general product. It'll improve the general video. And it'll also get me making it a bit more, and will get you the information a bit faster for those of you who are particularly keen. So that's sort of what I'm planning on doing. So watch out for those streams if you're a channel member. Because it would be great to have you in the chat giving your feedback and learning to mod and everything with me. Thank you so much for the super chat, Ryan, and I already said Ryan, hang on. Deep639, really appreciate that. That's really kind of you. Thank you. Okay. Right. How come Lucien's Moonpath dialogue has a Legacy of the Dragonborn patch? Oh, and Starrell's already answered that. Yeah, you don't need a Legacy of the Dragonborn patch for Lucien Moonpath. When you're on, why can't I click away? There you go. When you're on Special Edition, because it doesn't include Moonpath. Right. Okay. What's my favorite drink/snack for modding? Tea. I actually made a cup of tea earlier, but it's gone cold by now, and I can't be bothered to go and make another one. But I always make myself copious amounts of tea, generally, if I'm going to be modding for a long period of time. But at the moment, in this hot weather as well, water is very good. Okay, right, so let's actually do this thing rather than me just like doing one thing and then chatting for half an hour. It's fine though, keep the questions coming and everything, it's fun. So I'm going to create some quest stages. We're going to have to create an awful lot more of these, but they're just a way of keeping track of the progression as Lucien, or as the player continues through the quest and Lucien says various comments. It's very useful to have a bunch of quest stages. We always do these in increments so that we can go back and insert more later if we need to in between. So I'll do like, I don't know, 0 to 50 there, and maybe we'll have 100 and 200, and we can go back and fill them in and change them later if we want. But it's quite useful. Thank you so much for the super chat, GG. Really appreciate it. That's so kind of you. Oh, before we go any further, since I've got a good amount of you in the chat now, this stream is sponsored by me. It's not a sponsorship, it's just a chance for me to plug it. It's specifically sponsored by the Treacle people, which is a show that my dad made that he and I worked on getting digitized and putting on YouTube. It's a comedy, stop-motion animation with jokes for both kids and adults. It's hugely wholesome, incredibly funny, and the whole first season is available on YouTube right now. So I will just drop a link to that in the chat. And if you could please subscribe to the channel, watch it to support me, I would be massively grateful, because I'm doing my very best to promote it as much as I can. So here's the link. There's my self-sponsorship, shameless plug thing. But do please subscribe to that. Go check it out. Give it a watch. That would be amazing. Oh, Tiny Lucien. Yes, sorry. I did see chat messages about that, and I haven't got around to doing it. Yes, I will just summon Tiny Lucien then to assist us while we're working. Thank you so much for the super chat, Brandy. That's so kind of you. You're amazing. Thank you. I'm just gonna pop you back to camera so I can summon Tiny Lucien. Give me a sec. Where is it? It's under the Shimiji thing. Toss a coin to your hero, oh Valley of Whiterun, oh Valley of Whiterun, oh. Yeah, I really need to make a better transition so we don't have to go through the Infinite Joseph's page when I do this sort of thing. Maybe like a delayed thing, I don't know. But anyway, right, I'm just going to be trying really quick here. So, screen with camera and creation kit. There you go, that's the fastest I can do. And now we have Tiny Lucien. Oh, look at him. He's so cute. Okay, anyway, so we don't need any quest stages or scripts at the moment. So I'm going to press OK there. I am going to go to File Preferences because we need to set a script prefix. So this is going to be JR0, which is Lucien's prefix. There is a huge amount of charm to stop motion, Ryan. I think I would infinitely prefer it to CGI animation. I think it's much more wholesome, and an art style. I think it's really nice. Right. Suggestion to have Lucien comment on fishing. If Lucien's with you and you successfully catch a fish, Lucien could ask you to teach him to fish. That could be fun. Something like that. Right. Anyway, so we were getting onto Lucien Dragonborn now that I've set up my prefix. Right, so this is going to be usually most of the dialogue for this sort of thing is conducted through idle dialogue. So I'm going to start with that. Yeah, I would like to give Lucien wedding interactions at some point. At some point in the future. It's a bit fiddly to set up, but I'd like to do that. Do I have plans to do a follow mod for Starfield? Yes, I'd like to bring Lucien to Starfield in some form. But it's very dependent on how moddable Starfield ends up being and how it all looks and how good the game is and whether there's any interest or an audience for it. Yes, I have seen the TV tropes page for Lucien. I don't know who made it. But it was interesting to see. Obviously a fan. So anyway, we're now going to go to my best friend, which is UESP, the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages wiki, which has got all the information about Skyrim and indeed the rest of the Elder Scrolls games, because I can use this to go to Dragonborn. And if we go to the quest, which is in fact the starting quest of Dragonborn, because this has all the quest stages. Lucien never uses pronouns anyway, to be honest, Matchafish. The only thing he does is he says, excuse me, sir, excuse me, madam, at the very start, which is something I'm changing anyway to make it more flexible. So there's actually no need, because, you know, Lucien only ever calls you, generally, or by name. He never talks about you to someone else. So, shouldn't be a problem. Thank you so much for the super chat, Cthulhin. / Christy, really appreciate it. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so first thing is I've been attacked by a group of cultists. I need to see if they have any evidence of what prompted this assault. So the first thing will be Lucien reacting to the cultists having appeared. So we'll have set up an idle thing to go quest stage 5. And the response will be What in the world was that about? Hello, Creeks. Yes, that's kind of what I was hoping, was by streaming on YouTube, more people, it will be more accessible to more people. More people would be able to notice that we're streaming. Twitch is a bit more niche, so I thought by being here on YouTube, it'll make it more easy for people to tune in. And it's got some nice features as well that Twitch doesn't have, so. Right. Oh, thanks for stopping by, XP Cyrox 47. Right. What in the world was that about? And what should we have? Sorry, Reese. I don't personally drink, and it's not something that I particularly want to address for Lucien as to whether he does or doesn't. So I'd leave that open to your interpretation. Right. Yeah, Tiny Lucien's very cute, isn't he? Now you see, Ancient, I'm just gonna address this without wanting to invite debate, but I'm just gonna address it very briefly, which is that there is absolutely no harm whatsoever in Lucien saying, "Excuse me, I don't normally do this, but have you got a moment to talk?" The sir/madam adds nothing. So what we have there is a trade-off of losing 0 by removing it, and adding, making a lot more people more comfortable. And isn't that nice? It's a change that costeth nothing and makes the mod more accessible and more wholesome and more friendly to more people, makes them feel more included. That, to me, is an infinitely positive thing. So, we're going to do that. Not removing the comment. The comment still will totally happen. All that's changed is he won't say sir/madam, because he won't make an assumption. It'll allow you to roleplay more. Anyway. Right, writing. What in the world was that about? What in the world was that about? Or maybe we could change it. I'm just playing around with ideas here. Have I already recorded the old Patreon names? Some of them. I haven't finished recording all of them yet. That is some work I still need to do before the next update. They will all be in the next update when that comes round. No one needs to apologise, Matchafish. It's all good. Anyway, what was that? So, just a general... Sorry, I don't know what I'm not getting in the... I keep going back and forth on this. There's different routes to go for it. I want him to comment on... Just to sort of acknowledge, what would he say if that had actually just happened? They've shown up and they've just tried to attack you. I think he'd be interested in their masks, because they're remarkable. But he'd be like, what was that? Ah. Who in the world were they? Very elaborate masks. Most impressive. I don't suppose. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to go for, Star also. I don't suppose. They were carrying Any clues? Clues we might be able to... Whoa! Loads of comments coming in very quickly. Don't know how to do that, Reese. Don't know how to detect Marak showing up and stealing the soul. That sounds tricky. Am I considering making Lucien specific armor or weapons? No, because it wouldn't really make sense for his character. Any clues we might be able to peruse? There we go. That'll do for the moment. And I'll just leave it at neutral for the moment. Yes, he might have overheard the one true Dragonborn thing, but I was thinking of reserving that until you've actually read the cultist orders. Because the opening thing says I need to see if they have any evidence of what prompted the assault. So it's kind of like the game sort of implies you don't know for sure what they're on about or who actually sent them until you actually read the note, which then explains. Or a little bit more anyway. So let's go with saving that for after you've actually read the note. Do Lucien make comments of the race of the enemy when your character is of the same race? Probably. Can't quite remember now. I'd have to go back and have a look. Anyway, so we're going to do this. We're going to do a get stage condition on this. And we're firstly going to say get stage. Whoa, that's being super slow. Why is that being so slow today? Get stage, and we want, first thing, this very quest, JR Lucien, Dragonborn. And we want to say get stage JR Lucien Dragonborn is less than 10. I.e. Lucien won't have said this first line about the Dragonborn quest line. And then when he said the line, it's going to say get owning quest. And we have open brackets, close brackets, because it's a function we're calling. And we say dot set stage. And we say 10. So what will happen is this will make sure the line is only said once by conditioning it such that, when the line's said, that stage is set to 10. And if the stage is less than 10, it will play. So if the stage is 10, it won't play again. So this will make sure the line is only said once. Yes, I plan to do some Dawnguard stuff, Eslam, but as I say many times on these streams, I don't talk about which follower mod interactions I might do in the future. Right. And I think it makes sense for Lucien to not have heard of Marak. And the reason I think that is because the quest line has a whole thing about you finding out who Marak is. You go around and ask people who's Marak. And if Lucien just tells you who Marak is, that wouldn't make any sense. So I think I'm going to make it so that Lucien doesn't know who Marak is and discovers with you. Toss a coin to your hero. Anyway, so we'll have a second line now. Kill the false Dragonborn. False Dragonborn? The bare-faced cheek. Well, not bare-faced. We do wear masks, I suppose. But still, rude! And we're going to say... Oh, and I forgot to actually condition the previous line based on the thing. Oh, Mirak heard the Greybeard summons as well. I like that theory. Let's go. No, you see, you're right, Daniel, in that I would say Lucien should have heard of him, maybe, arguably. But I'm suggesting for story reasons we should go with the fact that he hasn't. Because otherwise, surely he would tell you. And then that would invalidate the whole trying to find out who Mirak is thing. You know? There are certain things that we are constrained by with the gameplay. I like to put story first all the time, but sometimes gameplay does have to trump story, or does have to trump the easiest version of the story. Hi, Nib! Welcome to the stream! Hope you're well. Reese, this won't be ready for a long time. Play it in your next playthrough. And now I also want to say, now what is the quest called? I suspect it's called DLC to MQ01. DLC to MQ01. I don't know why it says /DLC to WE09. Oh, okay. Oh, that's... I love this. Oh, this is awkwardly implemented. Oh, no, it's not. It's okay. So this one says, okay, DLC 2 MQ01 has to be less than 10, because once it's 10, you'll have read the cultist's orders. But it has to be greater than or equal to 5 for find out who sent the cultists. Like that. And that should do the job, because that'll mean the cultists are dead, but you haven't yet read the orders. Oh, that's interesting. The only book that references him is The Guardian the Traitor, which only calls him the traitor. So Mirak has been thoroughly forgotten by the Fourth Era, so Lucien wouldn't have heard of him. There we go. Lucien does say at some point, Lucien does have a reference to saying some scholars on Solstheim dispute about the first Dragonborn. So he is aware that there is some discussion about a Dragonborn being on Solstheim. But that's all he says about it, so there's no reason he should know the name Mirak necessarily. Which makes it a lot easier. Am I ever going to continue with my Lucien the Dragonborn series? Yes, I am. Hopefully this year we'll do season 2. Anyway, so now I want to, in fact, I'm going to copy that condition. Does Lucien's family have a family crest? Ooh, yeah, it's a squirrel riding a dolphin, holding a spear, and on the end of the spear is a coconut, and with a little umbrella, a little pink umbrella sticking out the top of the coconut, and the squirrel is wearing a hat, a very tall top hat, like completely impractically tall, and on the very top of the top hat is a little yellow flower, and the dolphin is making an expression a little bit like this. And that's the family crest. You do realise that some artists have now taken themselves a challenge to create the family crest. Oh, I'd love to see that. The stage 10 is for a different quest, Nib. That's for the Lucien Dragonborn quest. So DLC to MQ01 now has to be greater than or equal to 10, I think. Now here's an interesting problem. I don't want this dialogue to play if you kill the cultists and then go and recruit Lucien. That's going to be a big problem. You say that, check. I'm pretty sure the Beyond Skyrim Cyrodiil team don't want me incorporating anything. That's certainly the impression I've got from the interactions I've had when we've talked about this on stream before and team members have been in the chat. I think commenting is okay, but I don't think they want anything incorporating of my lore. Right. So that is. But then again, you're writing it, check, aren't you? So write it in, sure. Less than. So search for information about Marak. I want that to be. I don't want this to play when you've actually gone to Solstheim. So let's put this being less than 15. Yes, a little note on wholesomeness. So I would very much prefer it if we could keep this stream and all my streams and all my chats nice and wholesome, nice and friendly, nice and, you know, free of any of the nasty topics or anything. I'd like it all to just be nice and lovely. Let's not skirt near anything. Let's just keep it all lovely, yeah? Modding question. How do I make it where there's dialogue, where there's multiple choices, and the option to ask the other choices are still there until the ending conversation line is chosen? So what you need to do is, if we do, let me just finish this and I'll show you. So less than 20, greater than or equal to 10, less than 15, set stage 20. Yeah, that works. That's very nice. So if you're writing some dialogue, so let's go into like, let's go into Lucien's main quest dialogue. Player dialogue, and you've got a little dialogue tree like this thing about a dragon destroying Helgen. So it opens with you look haunted somehow, and what you have at the end is your branch. Any dialogue you put in here in the branch, which you do by saying add link, links to another line of dialogue, and those are the topics that are available when when that line has been said. So this will show up as an option that someone can click on. If you have multiple topics listed here, there'll be multiple options to click on. And what you need to do is simply each line in your dialogue tree that you want that option to be available after, you link to it. You add a thing saying JR Lucien MQ whatever. So you can keep relinking to the same line in all those different options until the conversation is finished. Right? So you make your lines and you'll have to relink them to every other option until you click that starting option, after which you don't link to them. Okay? Well, folks, it's 5:53, and that means it's time for another shameless plug. I'm a private tutor. I'm looking for work, looking for more students. If you'd like to learn modding, if you'd like to learn to make a Skyrim mod from me, by all means, drop me an email at josephrussellauthor@hotmail.com. And we can set up a lesson. I do one-to-one modding tuition if you're interested in that. My rates at the moment are $50 or £40 per hour. If you're interested, drop me a message and I'll teach you that. I can also teach voice acting and writing. And by trade, like professionally in life, I'm a maths tutor and a physics tutor. So if you want to ace your maths or physics exams or know someone who does, you're very welcome to get in touch for that as well. Here endeth the plug for Joseph Russell Tutoring. See you, Cicero. Anyway, so I want to create some player dialogue here for this quest to ask about Marak, but it won't work. Why ain't it working? Player dialogue. Oh, because I need to create a new branch first. Of course, because I'm a fool. Who is... Well, let's just go Mirak A1. Hello, Ender Warlock. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a marvelous day. Oh no, I've named it wrong. Abort, abort, abort. I want this to be Dragonborn Mirak. Let's call it Dragonborn Mirak 1. And then within that, we're going to go Dragonborn Mirak 1. And then A1, because it's the opening line of dialogue. Bing, ba-ding, bing. So we're going to go... I'm going to create a new line of dialogue here. And this is going to be option to ask Lucien who Mirak is. Do you know who Mirak is? Mirak. Mirak. Oh, Mirak. No, never heard of him. Sorry. Never heard of them. Because we don't know Miraks. Do we? Or do they say Lord Mirak? I think they do say Lord Mirak, actually, don't they? In the dialogue, they say it. His, by that option. The false draw. Oh no, they don't necessarily. Oh no, they do say Lord Mirak. They do. Whatever you choose, it says Lord Mirak. None shall stand to oppose him, so I can say him. They sound miraculous. I love it. I love it. And that can be the end of that conversational thing. And I'll condition that so you can only ask him that once, so it doesn't sit in your dialogue the whole time. So we'll do, we'll say, get stage. J.R. Lucien Dragonborn. Less than, oopsie daisy. Actually, let's make this a get stage done. So get stage done checks whether a particular quest stage has played. Rather than saying, are we up to a particular stage? Why do I have 4x edits on my taskbar? Because I have TESV edit for ordinary. Sorry, this is SSE edit. I have SSE edit with auto clean. I have TESV edit, so for ordinary Skyrim, and with auto clean again. So that's my 4 different 5 edits, 4 different X edits on my taskbar. That's a shortcut. Anyway, get stage JR Lucien Dragonborn. I want to say 30, because that's going to be this conversation. Daniel drew the quest. The crest. Well done. I'm glad you succeeded in my pointless task. So this has to be equal to 0, so he can't have said it yet. And we're going to say set stage. Sorry, get owning quest. Dot set stage. 30. And that's all it needs. So it'll only be available the once. Oh, but of course we need conditions for it again. So we want to say get stage. In fact, we need the same conditions we had before. I wonder if I've still got them copied. Yeah. So when have you heard the name Mirak by that point? It's by stage... Well, again, once you've read the cultist orders. So it's stage 10. And it can be greater than or equal to stage 10. And it can be less than or equal to... We could go with stage 20, search for information about Merak. Okay, yeah, well, so we want it to be less than 30, because by the time you've spoken to the people of Raven Rock, and we've heard the name Merak, it doesn't make sense for him to have this conversation anymore. So let's say less than, strictly less than 30. I'm afraid Lucien probably won't actually interact with Neloth. Sorry. He'll probably comment on him, but he won't talk to him. Because that involves splicing. And that'd be difficult. Oh, it could be Staril. It could be a good place to use a name when Lucien gets back from the when the player gets back from the Black Book. Don't say no like I've robbed you of something, Matchovic. I can't create dialogue for Neloth. I can try and splice it, but it just isn't convincing. It just isn't good results. I'd rather not. Okay, right. So we've done that, and we've done that, and we've done that. No need to be sorry. I'm trying to bring them round as plausible time to say someone's name. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you'd be like, Narusa, Narusa, Narusa. Snake, snake, snake. Well, that's the beauty of fanfic. Is that Rachel? Yeah, that's the beauty of fanfic, is you can write your own interactions. So once you've found information about Merak, ooh, of course, Solstheim, travel to Solstheim. Well, it's a bit tricky commenting on that because you might have been to Solstheim before with Lucien. So maybe I'll leave off actually commenting on going to Solstheim. Because I'd rather, because it can't be like, oh, I've always wanted to go to Solstheim, because you might have already been with him. So, let's, Yep, I'm never going to be using AI-generated voices, Ryan. But you're welcome to have a watch of my last stream for the discussion on that. I don't want it to be a topic of every stream, because that'll get a bit boring. But I'm not going to be using those. Yes, Lucien does have a Discord server. Or rather, no, Lucien doesn't. I do. I have a Discord server where there is a channel for Lucien. But I keep the rules quite strict there, basically, just because that's what I'm comfortable with. Right, so. Anyway, once you're actually on Solstheim, such as the Merak, but someone in Raven Rock will know. The people of Raven Rock know the name Merak. Let's jump ahead to that point. Saying he has a temple near the center of the island. I should seek him out and find out why people have attacked me on his behalf. So, we'll jump ahead to the temple. And let's just check what actually happens. Lucien would play D&D, and he would play as a bard. And if you'd like to see a Lucien D&D game, check out my livestream channel. Joseph Russell Live, where you can find 2 Lucien D&D games. Featuring me playing Lucien. Joseph Russell Live is where it is my stream archive of all the old Twitch streams. So you'll find it all there. Anyway, so when you actually get there... Oh, name is something to do with the Earthstone. It's an optional objective. Is that tracked? Objective 25, investigate the shrine. It's a bit of a pain. Yes, of course Lucien has a preferred side in the war. He's an Imperial. That's like a whole thing of his character. Several of the... Because you go there... Walk towards the shrine and you'll be approached by Neloth. Oh, will you? I don't think I've ever actually played this bit. How old is Lucien when he and the Dragonborn first meet each other? He is 21. So how could you find out about Marak's temple? You find it out at the Earthstone. Is there another way of finding out about the temple? Or is that the main way? Oh no, you can speak with the citizens. Others will mention the temple. Okay. Okay. Reach the Temple of Marak comes up then, and that's stage 30. So the difficult thing is conditioning it based on Neloth or not. We should really refer to that. Okay, let's have one comment for this bit anyway, for the Temple of Marak. The trouble with restoration spells, Ryan, is it's very difficult to make NPCs cast them. To be honest, it's very difficult. The NPCs can't cast restoration spells by default, except for the self-healing ones. So it's very tricky. You have to custom code them to get them to cast them, and that's a real pain. You need to make an AI package for them, Ender Warlock. Ah, so our friend Marak has a temple, does he? Lucky him. Shall we go and pay him a visit? Yep, but you can't use NFF on Lucien, Michaela, or it will break him. And this is going to be 40 now. And we said the stage now has to be 30 for visit the Temple of Marak. Which is reach the Temple of Marak. And then how does the Temple of Marak start? When you actually get to the shrine? Yeah, just entering it. Does that start it? No, my home is your home is not safe to use on Lucien. That's why I say all over the mod page and everywhere I can to say please don't use other mods to control Lucien. Or indeed any custom follower. But Lucien, if you use my home as your home on him, what will happen is when you come to do his personal quests, you'll find he's not where he's supposed to be. He's gone back home because the package overrides my packages. Hello, Ari Kashibi. Yes, we are trying streaming on YouTube to see how that goes. And at the moment, this is only our second YouTube stream, and they are massively more successful than the Twitch streams ever were. So we're probably going to do a lot more of them. So what we'll do is we'll say that, and we'll also add a condition for... maybe we can try and set that up, Dwemer. So I want to say get in current location, I think is what it's called. Getting current lock. There we are. Oh, come on. Why is it so laggy these days? What is going on? That never used to be a thing. No, not alias. No. Getting current lock. And I want DLC 2 Temple of Merak location. And I want it only to play if you're not in that location. Because it doesn't make sense for Lucien to say, let's go and visit the Temple of Merak if you're already in the Temple of Merak. Midnight's Man said, I want to say thank you for putting the work in on Creation Club content. I'm so pleased. One of my main goals with doing Creation Club interactions was to improve them and make them more fun by having some voiced NPC actually acknowledge them. And people seem to have really enjoyed that. To be honest, if nothing else, I find it more fun playing the Creation Club quests with Lucien because NPCs, you know, Lucien will talk about it. I just enjoy that more. So if other people do as well, that's a double win. Right, we're going to save, because that's important. Toss a coin to your witcher, O Valley of Plenty, O Valley of Plenty, oh. Hello, useless, pathetic noob. Oh, I feel really bad saying that, but it's your username. Well, hello. Thank you for being nice about Lucien. One of the most wholesome followers ever. Well, wholesome follower creator ever. Thank you. No, Lucien doesn't have the 3-day limit on his waiting. He will wait indefinitely. And that's perfectly safe. So if you want him to stay in a particular place, just leave him in that space with wait on. Right, so what happens next? Oh, we were going to talk about the Neloth option, weren't we? Now that is going to involve a bit of jiggery-pokery. So let's have a look. I want to go, instead of show any active forms, I now want to have a look at DLC 2. And what was it? MQ... Investigate the shrine, so it's MQ01. Because this is where UESP doesn't have enough information for me. Tactical Shadows modding question. How would I make it to where a dialogue was only available on returning after a certain dialogue choice and not available via other dialogue choices? You're not being annoying at all. So what you would do is you'd use a get stage or a set stage. So you'd attach a script to the line of dialogue that you want, you know, to not be able to return after or whatever. And you'd set a stage in your quest. So you'd say set stage 10. And then you can condition your dialogue that you want to be able to return to or not return to based on that. You could say get stage then. You could say get stage 10 equals 1 or equals 0, or get stage done 10 equals 1 or equals 0. And that just so stages are useful as little flags to track things that have happened. Alternatively, you could use a global variable, but that's a bit, it's fine, it's just a bit clunkier. I prefer personally using stages to keep track of dialogue because that's kind of what they're set up for. Anyway, so let's have a look at how this works. So this is the Dragonborn questline, and I want to see how the Neloth thing is implemented, so we can try and see what we can track. Player has encountered cultists on Solstheim. Interesting. DLC MQ02 Freya Temple Scene quest start. Okay. But this is when the player arrives on Solstheim, so they're actually there once we hit 20. Player is pointed to pillar, but these things are all disabled. 30 says player is directed to temple. Let's see if we can find Neloth's dialogue. Wizard intro branch. Yes, okay, so this is Neloth's dialogue about Merak. So let's see what happens, what scripts run when this happens. Here we are. DLC2 MQ01 Neloth global.setValue 1. So there's a global variable called this that is set to 1 when this conversation has happened. So we can check whether this conversation has happened or not by checking the global variable. And if that is 1, then Lucien can comment on having met Neloth. Let's just have a look at the properties and just check what that global variable is called. Yes, it's called DLC2 MQ01 Neloth Global. So if we go back, show only active forms to Lucien, and we go into Dragonborn, and we're going to go new, and this is going to be our Neloth dialogue. Whoa. And I'm not going to write it for the moment because I want to try and keep it in my mind. We want... Ooh, that sounds bad, Daniel. We want get global value, if that'll work. Appears to have frozen. Oh, no, there we go. Get global value. It is filling in. Come on. Get global value. And we want... what was it called? It was called DLC2 Neloth... Oh, no, it wasn't called that, was it? MQ01 Neloth Global, that's it. If that is equal to 1, and get stage DLC MQ01 is equal to, or greater than or equal to 30, and it's less than 200, then we've had the Neloth thing. Does Lucien react to Hearthfire at all? Only a little bit, not to actually the building of the homes. And then let's just review what that conversation is with Neloth. You there, you don't know, very interesting mouse, what you're doing here. Merak sounds familiar. I don't know, Merak's been dead for thousands of years. I'm not sure, so he never actually identifies himself as Neloth. So Lucien has no reason to know he is Neloth. Yet. Though he presumably would have heard of Neloth. Who was that? He seemed to know an awful... He seemed to know a fair bit. What's going on here? And he did look somewhat wizardy. Were those Telvanni robes? I wonder. There we go. Oh yes, I'm sure it addresses him by name in later quests. But at the moment, we don't know this. How much would Lucien know about the events of Blood Moon or Solstheim in the Third Era? He knows a fair bit, and he talks about them. He has comments on Solstheim already, referencing the events of Blood Moon. Whee. And again, we want a... For this one, we want to get stage... Ooh, now I think I'm going to have to insert this at stage 35. Because I think I conditioned... Let's move that up, because that needs to come before that as an optional thing. Now, I said 40 for this, and we had 30 before. Let's just make this 50. So this will skip the Neloth thing. And then in here, we can say get stage done 40 equals 0. Get stage, oopsie daisy, get stage done. And we want JR Lucien Dragonborn. I'm trying to set this up, right, so that it doesn't matter what order you do things. I want it to still work. So I'm trying to set it up such that if you speak to a townsperson and find the location of the temple before you speak to Marak, the lines still play the right way round, and that one doesn't prevent Lucien from having this interaction. So stage 40. There we go. And that equals 0. So only if he hasn't said this line yet. And he'll now say this line. Now, this whole business of using stages here, and the way I'm using stages to condition to prevent Lucien from saying a line again, it also serves another function, which is to tell me what Lucien has been present for. So this means later on, if we want to write lines of dialogue referring to these earlier quests, we can know for sure whether Lucien was with the player or not for these quests. So we can avoid Lucien saying, hey, remember when we attacked the Temple of Marak, if he wasn't there for the Temple of Marak. So I can use these stages to keep track of when he was present. Dot set stage, and we're going to say, we just said we wanted this to be 40, didn't we? Yeah, compile. Does Lucien support the player name Geralt? No, he doesn't. He has a full list of player names on my website that he recognizes. Can't remember whether I've recorded Adrian or not, but again, I encourage you to have a look at my list on my website, rather than asking about specific names. If you're new to modding, what kind of knowledge should you have before attempting it? Like, should you know how to code? It will help you with the scripting if you have some coding experience, but there's nothing that's a requirement before starting modding that you have to learn. The best thing you can do if you're interested in follower modding is to check out my tutorial series, How to Make a Follower Mod Like Lucien Flavius, available on my YouTube channel, which will take you through all the steps of how to get started with the creation kit. So you could try that. How do I, as a mod author, keep track of all the Lucien has said X or Y? I mean, in actuality, well, I try and structure it so it's fairly intuitive. So all the flags, all the stage flags for the main quest are in the JR Lucien MQ quest line, and all the ones for MG are in for the Arcane College of Winterhold are in JR Lucien MG, because MG is the prefix used for the College of Winterhold quest in the CK. So that's, I don't have a spreadsheet or anything, but I don't really need one because it's fairly intuitive, and I can always just open the quest to have a look and see what my implementation was if I need to remind myself. A spreadsheet would probably be tidier. An animation series of Lucien Flavius would be cool, wouldn't it? Unfortunately, that's completely beyond my means. I cannot possibly make an animation series about Lucien Flavius, as much as I would love to. I do not have the skills to do that. I am not an animator or an artist. Anyway, people were asking about the Discord server. Here is the link in the chat, if you want that. Oh boy, that's not it. But do bear in mind, you'll need to read and accept the rules before you gain access to the rest of the server. And I work really hard, and my moderators work really hard to keep it really wholesome in there. So I don't want any edgy stuff in there. At all. And that isn't for everyone. Some people just aren't down with that. And that's cool if you're not. But yeah, just make sure you're cool with the rules before you go into the rest of the server. The bear is here. The bear is here, check. Here is the bear. Not just in mind, but in body. Right, okay. So, there's Marek. And the Neneloth thing. Now, we should have something about the Earthstone. Which I think... this might be a bit trickier to implement. But let's have a go. So let's copy this. Use it as a basis. Now, Lucien doesn't get hypnotized and go over to the stones. I'm not going to try and implement something that makes him do that. It doesn't happen. Or it shouldn't do. Has anyone ever noticed Lucien using the stones? I'm pretty sure he doesn't. But let me know if anyone has ever seen Lucien being, like, absorbed into the whole hypnosis thing. But I'm pretty sure he shouldn't. That's not how it works. I'm pretty sure that he won't be affected by it. But let me know. Do I have any pets? You seem like a cat kind of guy. Yes, I have a cat, which lives at my mum's house. Her name is Grey. She's adorable. She will guest star on these streams in the future, and she has guest starred on many of my Twitch streams in the past. Right. Well, this is bizarre. These people are under some kind of mental control. Perhaps somehow mimetic? It's quite remarkable, but quite horrifying. Toss a coin to your hero, O Valley of Whiterun. O Valley of Whiterun, oh. Lucien doesn't ever reference my cat, because my cat's in the real world. But Lucien does have a cat. So that's what he's referencing. In fact, this, I think, would make Lucien sad. Ari, you've got yourself kittens! Adorable! I'm very jealous. So I'm not going to have Lucien be hypnotized. And I'm going to make that a point of discussion. But in any case, when do the stones... Well, specifically with the stone, I want this to be before we get the explanation of what's going on. Now, when do we find out that the Earthstones are because of Mirak? I think it makes sense for Lucien to make this comment up until you've actually met Mirak. So, let's go up to... let's go up to, whoopsie daisy. So if we go up to read the black book. So if we go up to stage 40. If we go get stage DLC MQ01, that doesn't actually have to be under anything. This doesn't actually require... Ooh. Ooh, I don't... Hang on. Right. Let me just loop you into what's going on here in my brain. So, I've been keying this in as part of the Dragonborn quest. But you can visit Solstheim prior to starting the Dragonborn quest, in which case you will find the people doing the whole building the thing, don't you? Right? They're building the temple, they're at the Earthstone, hypnotized before you start the Dragonborn quest. Is that correct? Can someone confirm that? If you go to Solstheim before starting Dragonborn, do you get this effect with the Earthstone? I think you do. Yeah. So it will make sense. Everyone's commenting yes. Yes, okay, excellent. So it would make sense that Lucien should comment on it, even if you're not doing the Dragonborn quest. Right? So, Lucien needs to make this comment, but it could be a precursor to the quest line. So therefore, we want to get stage done, and I'm going to introduce this as stage 5. So actually before the initial stage 10, so that this doesn't prevent the other dialogue from happening. So we're going to go back out of this. We're going to go stages. We're going to introduce a pre-stage, which will be stage 5, which will be this comment. So I want get stage done, JR Lucien Dragonborn 5. There we go. And that has to be equal to 0, so this hasn't happened yet. We set the stage to 5 when the line is said. Then, it doesn't matter about the Dragonborn questline having started, but we need to be before we've reached MQ02 and we said 40. So, there's a thing, Reese, right? Which is a sort of narrative writing thing. We've got to bear it in mind in video game context. So you're saying, so Reese is saying he should say that the people look like they are doing something with the stones, but he doesn't know what. Now you're right, that would be correct for him to say. But it doesn't tell the player anything at all that they don't already know. And it doesn't tell the player anything about what Lucien's thinking. All it tells them is that Lucien can see what you can see. That's all it says. So that means it isn't useful dialogue, and it's not dialogue that I would want to implement. Now, I can't say I'm perfect on this, but I think all the dialogue should serve some function, even if that function is only to amuse, or to give you some insight into what Lucien's thinking, or to give you some guidance for the game. But for him to just describe what the player can already see doesn't really help him anything. So that's a little insight into what I look for from my writing, and that's a sort of a writing tip, maybe, for writing your own modded followers. So we're going to say DLC MQ02, we said had to be less than 40. Thank you so much for joining the channel, Lost Kitnip. Thank you so much for becoming a channel member. I really appreciate that. Hope to see you on some of my members only streams in the future, like when we're recording the next tutorial sesh. Nib says, how long is this stream? Do you mean how long it's been going for, or how long will it go for? So far, we started at 5 o'clock, so it's now 6:30. And we're probably going to go on maybe till about 8 o'clock. Might do another hour and a half. We'll go on until I get hungry enough for dinner that we need to stop. Right. Now, this doesn't depend on that. All it depends on is that not happening and the stage being that, and we need a locational thing. Now we want get distance. Where is it? Get distance between run on subject, which is Lucien. Now, how am I going to find the Earthstone? I don't suppose they'll have put it in its own cell. DLC2. This be too much to ask for, really. It'll be in the exteriors, won't it? Yeah, okay. How am I going to fill that in? Let's see if we can find it. Let's go to the render window. And let's have a look. The world space is Solstheim. Which is DLC2 Solstheim World. And let's have a look. DLC2 Stone Earth. That's what it's called. DLC2 Stone Earth. There we go. And now here's a list of references. See you, Rachel. Thanks for joining. Hope to see you again. Right. Let's have a look. DLC 2 Earthstone Player Furniture. DLC 2 Standing Stone Earth Activator. Standing Stone Earth Map Marker. Which one should we use? There's the Lurk Ambush. Let's try, let's see if it works. Oh look, Pillar Marker, X Marker. Or Earthstone Marker. MQ01 Pillar Marker, X Marker. Let's try using this. Let's view it in the render window and see where it is. If that'll work. Ah, okay, so it's good job we didn't pick this one because this one's floating in the sky. Whereas the map marker is on the ground. We can see it there, so let's use the map marker. No, there's no particular need for a map for an armor mod for Lucien. Barak, Lucien isn't a warrior or anything. He comes in his fine clothes. He doesn't need to have his own unique armor. So there we go. Hey Logan, thanks so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. That's so lovely of you. You mentioned to one of my comments that you're a fellow Assassin's Creed fan, so would you consider writing a few lines for J Serpa's Leaps of Faith? Oh yeah, you commented about this, didn't you? As an interactions patch. I could do at some point. I've never personally used the mod, so I tend not to do interactions for things I haven't used, just because there's so much to do, kind of, at some point. But if there's enough demand for it, we could maybe add some at some point. I'll certainly bear it in mind as an option of something to do a patch for. So we want the distance from that map marker to be less than... how many units should we say for him to recognise the people around? Let's maybe say 2,000 units? Leaps of Faith is a mod that adds places for you to like jump off Assassin's Creed style in Skyrim to like do parkour kind of things off rooftops and stuff. So it does look quite cool, but I've not personally used it. So let's say within 2,000 units of this map marker for Lucien to comment on this. But here's another modding tip. If you're going to do a get distance check on an object in the world, you also need a minimum get distance check, because that's to check that it's actually loaded. Because if you do a get distance check on something that isn't in the same world space as the player at a particular time, it can't run the get distance check. If it isn't loaded, if it doesn't exist, it can't calculate the distance between Lucien and the object in question, in this case the Earthstone. So it'll return 0 when you run get distance. So if you run get distance less than 2,000 on an object that isn't loaded at the time, it'll return 0, and that's less than 2,000, so Lucien will think he's there. Whereas if you include an AND condition for greater than or equal to 1, because you're never going to have a distance of 0 from it, because that would mean you're literally on top of it. So you've got to be, if you're greater than 0 from it, so if you're greater than or equal to 1 from it, that's fair enough distance kind of thing, then that makes sure that it'll only do it if you actually are within that distance bound. A Lost Kitnip, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting them to talk about it. So the I'm Talking Here mod was someone who got in touch saying, could they do a patch for Lucien to make him not talk if you're in dialogue with an NPC? And I did say to them, I'm working on something similar, so I prefer that they didn't. And it's true, I would prefer to have my own systems in place for Lucien rather than having another mod disable his dialogue, because to me that sounds like a huge potential nightmare. You know, it's putting a lot of control over my mod into someone else's hands, and it could cause all sorts of problems if Lucien's dialogue is being disabled in a way that I'm not able to even check or troubleshoot. So I prefer it wasn't patched by someone else. Now, I do have some ideas for how I can suppress Lucien's dialogue if you're talking to an NPC. And one of the things I'd like to trial is setting Lucien's idle dialogue to only play if the player is moving, rather than standing still. Now, it's something that will require an awful lot of testing because I'm not sure about the implications of that. If I set it so Lucien's idle dialogue can only play if the player is standing still, then it will make sure... Sorry, it will only play if the player is moving. Then it'll make sure that he never says anything while the player is in dialogue, because the player will only be standing still when they're in dialogue. They can't be moving and in dialogue with an NPC. So it would do the job. What I need to think through and test is whether there are any lines that Lucien would play where the player is likely to be standing still and it needs to play them. That's what I need to test and check out. So I need to look into it a little bit. There are also potentially some cleverer sort of SKSE-based solutions for determining whether the player or indeed anyone else is talking, which I also would like to investigate. And I'd also like to investigate using an alias harvester in order to check the is in dialogue with player conditions, is speaking conditions, check those on nearby NPCs. But if I were to do that, I'd want to implement it in such a way that it's not constantly running in the background, taking up resources and potentially creating orphan scripts if you update or delete the mod. So I want to try and come up with a solution that's lightweight and works reliably. And that's what I want to figure out. Unoctium, hi, thanks for tuning in. When you say you can pick up if the dialogue menu is open, I'm not sure what you mean by that, and that's a really interesting suggestion. Could you let me know what you mean by that? How would I detect if the dialogue menu is open? Because that would be very useful if I could detect that in a condition function. But that sounds like the sort of thing I can only do through a script. I will look up event on menu open, but that sounds like a scripting thing rather than a dialogue condition thing, which would introduce that whole sort of polling thing that I'm not so keen on. But I'll certainly have a look into it. Thanks for the suggestion. Right. Does Lucien have any vocalized preference for specific equipment or spells? No, because the whole point is it's set up so that you can customize him and train him however you like. Anyway, thank you so much, Antoinette Anders, for that. That's really kind of you to say. I'm so glad you like my work. JR Lucien Dragonborn 5, anyway equals 0. Get stage DLC MQ02 is less than 40. Yep, and that's checking the distance from the Earthstone. So in theory, if all these things are true, the Earthstone has not yet been cleansed. So there should still be NPCs around here. Right? And they're always there regardless of time of day, I assume? I'm trying to think of something, of a situation where it wouldn't be appropriate for him to say this line. I think it would be okay. But how are the stone cleansing quests controlled? Let's have a look. Is it possible to cleanse the stone before you've done Temple of Merak? No, because you cleanse it using the Bend Will shout, right? And you don't get Bend Will until later on in this quest line. So if you're at this point, it wouldn't... there's no way you can have cleansed the stone, right? If I'm conditioning it to before you've done Temple of Merak, then the stone must be active. So there must always be NPCs there, so it must be fine. Yeah? We're happy? Fabulous. We'll move on then. Oh, you can get it before. You can get Bend Will from the word wall at the north of the island. Ah, well, that's really interesting then. Thanks, Gelidity. Hi, by the way, Gelidity. Thanks for tuning in. In that case, how can we check whether or not the stone has been cleansed? What we could do is we could condition it based on whether or not you know the word, know the shout. It's not perfect, but we could do it. Thanks so much for the super chat, the sticker, Laura. Really appreciate the donation. You're awesome. You are, as your emoji says, incredible. Incredible. Thank you, Laura. Okay, so a slightly slapdash but way that would do it is if I make sure you don't yet know any words of the Bend Will shout. That would do it, right? So if I go has spell, run on player, DLC 2, and it's probably called something like Shout Bend Will, assuming it's set up as a spell, which I'm assuming it will be. Oh, voice. Voice Bend Will 1. There we go. If I say the player does not have that, then you're away. Oh, DLC 2 MQ03B is the stone controller. You can check the stages that are done. Okay, well, we've got this as an option, but let's go and have a look at that then. Oh, I can smell someone having a barbecue outside. Right. DLC... What did you say it was called? DLC 2. And it's MQ03B is the stone controller quest. Let's have a look. Earthstone Shouted is stage 20. So if I check get stage done 20 equals 0, that should do the job. Thanks for the suggestion, Gelidity. So we'll say get stage done DLC 2 MQ03B 20 equals 0. And that works better than whether or not you know the shout. So we want... Where were we? We were in Dragonborn. And we want Misk. And we want Idle. And we want... This is bizarre. Gosh, it's been nearly 2 hours and we've only done 5 lines. I'm sorry I'm so slow. You guys have been keeping me chatting, which is fun. But I haven't got tons done. DLC 2. Since a lot of Lucien's extra content is on the Game Creation Club, does that mean I have to get the extra Lucien content from the Creation Club instead of the extras? No, Lucien has no content on the Creation Club. The Creation Club is entirely the Creation Club DLCs. Lucien has nothing on the Creation Club. What Lucien has is patches, optional patches you can download that give him comments if you have the Creation Club stuff. You can download those patches from the Nexus or from Bethesda.net. It doesn't matter. Either of them will work. Right, get stage done, DLC 2 MQ03B, 20 equals 0. I'm going to bump that down a bit. We're going to get rid of the... Ooh, did I just mess that up? I thought I did that over the top of the has spell. Let's get rid of the has spout. I did the get stage less than 20 and the get distance less than 2,000 greater than 1. Yes, it was the get stage for whether this line has been said or not, wasn't it? We need the other get stage done. Get stage done. Oh, are you off then, Nib? Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. JR, we wanted JR Lucien Dragonborn. Is that an ambulance? Yeah, that's probably an ambulance in the background. Oops. Nope, I'm in the UK. Yes, if you have the anniversary edition, you have all of the Creation Club content. You're very welcome, Daniel. I'll always continue to support Lucien on Xbox, PC, and Legendary Edition. Right. That is now properly conditioned, I think. I'll make it random. Okay. Folks, I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I will be back in, or maybe 5 to 10 minutes. We'll be back soon, though, and we'll be doing at least another hour of working on this. Going to try and set up a few more lines. So don't go anywhere, or do, but I mean, it'd be nice if people were still around when I came back. But yeah, I will see you in a bit. I'm going to put you on the break screen. There we go. Back in a bit. Oh, and I'm going to run an ad while I'm gone, if that's okay. See you shortly. Hello, 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 hello. I'm about to come back. Are you ready? Hello, bonjour, guten Afternoonen, eveningen, and welcome back to the stream. We're probably going to do another hour or so of some modding, and let's get straight into it. So, we're going to go screen with camera. Infinite Josephs, we hate it. There we go, right. So we were on the Dragonborn quest line, and we had written 5 lines of dialogue. Or 6, including the line of player dialogue, which is something, you know, and some of it was a little bit fiddly. So let's crack on then to the Temple of Merak. So the Temple of Merak, you arrive at the temple, you'll find the exterior is under construction by the enthralled people of Solstheim, all of them forced by Merak to rebuild the temple. You may also notice that you are not the only unenslaved person around, as Scar resident Now that's interesting. Of course, they're working on the temple as well as the stones. So, we should also have this at the Temple of Merak. Have I considered making a patch for Legacy of the Dragonborn? Yes, of course I've considered it, and I'm sure I will at some point. But it's a very big project to do. See ya, Pablo. Thanks for tuning in. It's Lil X. This is UESP. It's one of the biggest websites for Elder Scrolls lore. It's one of the 2 wikis. This is the one most people will use for referring to lore, and it's particularly useful for modding because you have all the stages. So lots of people use this. Right. Anyway, so the temple is built around a stone. Let's have a look at the Temple of Merak. West-northwest of the Beast Stone, the Tree Stone is in the center of the structure. Okay. So, I should really make Lucien comment on this, even if you haven't been to the Earthstone. So, oh boy, okay. How would I set that up? I think the easiest way is to just have a copy of the line. Or we could have 2 variants. One if he's said this version before, and one if he hasn't. So one for if he's seen the Earthstone, and one if he hasn't. Well, this must be the temple. What are all these people doing here? They must be under some kind of mental control. The poor things. And that will be if we're going to do a get stage done on JR Lucien Dragonborn. Hi, Base Bunny Love. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're having fun playing Skyrim. JR Lucien. Oh, I forgot. I've got to select it from here. That's what makes it not laggy. JR Lucien Dragonborn. And the stage is, we said, was 5, which is for that. And I want to say this is equal to 0. So if this is not played, and this is going to set stage, we're going to do 60. Actually, this is going to be 100 because you've got to the Temple of Merak. So this is going to be the end of this bit. Well, this is the first one associated with the Temple of Merak, so I'll start at 100 to count up from here. But we're also going to set stage 5, so that if you've already seen hypnotized people here at the temple, he won't comment on them again at the Earthstone. Okay? Okay. Yes, Legacy of the Dragonborn is a very big mod. It's very cool. It's an amazing piece of work. But yeah, doing interactions with it is quite a big challenge. So those conditions have to be true. Then we also want to say get stage. Oh, there's even more to this. There's even more to this. So we need to have been looking for the Temple of Merak at this point. Actually, no. I'm going to delete that condition. It's fine. Lucien can say this even if you've only just recruited him and brought him to the temple. So we want get stage DLC to MQ02. Oh, hang on. After freeing the skull from the magic controlling them. What? Oh, this is one of those stages that's out of order. Right, I found Merak's temple on Solstheim. Oh, so you can do the skull thing first. Oh, crumbs. They have thought about this. So this is like a sub-objective you could have had. But let's go for it being, yeah, let's just say less than, let's say less than, we'll go with less than 40 again. It does get very complicated, butane, yeah. We'll go with less than 40 on DLC 2 MQ02. My plans at the moment are for Starfield Lucien and Skyrim Lucien to be the same character. Because Starfield is definitely not set in the future of the Elder Scrolls. So now we want in location DLC 2 Temple of Merak location. Now I want to find out whether this location extends to the exterior of the Temple of Merak. And to find that out, I'm going to have a look in SSE Edit. So let's open this up. Thanks for tuning in, Mercedes. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Yes, I would like to bring Lucien to Starfield in some form, if I can. So let's go. I'm looking for Dragonborn. If we open this up, we can have a look at the location and see what it references. So if we go to quest, no, we don't. We want location. And we want, where is it? Let's order them by name. Temple of Merak location. If we look at referenced by, we can see that yes, it does include the exteriors. So if I say in location, Temple of Merak location, that'll probably do the job. Okay. That is now all the conditions for that variant of the line. Let's duplicate it. And now we'll do an edited version for if you did go to the Earthstone first. Which means we no longer need this set stage condition. But we do need the first one. And we want now and look, more more people under mimetic control. Is mimetic the right word? I'm thinking of in terms of meme. Is that memetic? I might Google that. Thank you so much for the super chat, Ryan. That would be awesome, but it would probably involve splicing, and splicing I'm not particularly keen on. He might comment on them, but he probably won't interact with them. Mimetic. That's what I want. Ideas as a virus. Yes. Mimetic. More people under mimetic control. It's because of this repetition of the sentences they're saying. That's just Lucien's theory. That's why he's going with mimetic. Version 1.7.0 is looking quite big. Yeah, it probably will have quite a lot in it. Well, that definitely suggests this Marak chap has something to do with it. Have I played any Fallout games? I've not. No. I'd like to at some point. But I've not. And I've never played Elden Ring. Okay, we got that far. Let's do another save. Right, so what happens then? Freya. Enter the center of the structure and the quest will begin with Freya seeking you out. She explains she is there to either free or avenge her people, revealing that the workers are from her village. She's also knowledgeable about the return of Marek and will offer her companionship to help defeat them. Okay, so she then joins as a temporary companion, doesn't she? Lilith Luna, I never talk about what companions or other follower mods I might or might not interact with. Right, so she joins as a temporary companion, and then you travel with him. Let's be kind about other mods, yeah, Jewel? Let's not be critical of other people's mods. So then we've got to fight our way through the temple. And then... Okay, let's have a... I don't see why Lucien and Fallout would be a tonal clash. Any more than Lucien and Starfield would be. See your words without rules. Shakespeare in the Park. That sounds fun. Enjoy. Hey, Stacey. Welcome to the stream. It's going well, thank you. We haven't done very much modding, considering it's been a couple of hours. But we're cracking on reasonably well. Welcome to the team, Freya. It is very hot here in the UK at the moment, MMX. Although it has been raining a bit this afternoon, which has helped a bit. Welcome to the team. What should we say? Yes, Star says it's too warm. What top tip should Lucien give her as she's part of the team? Oh, I know. Don't worry. We do this sort of thing all the time. I'm actually pretty crucial to the whole. I'm actually kind of a big deal. Maybe that sounds a bit modern to say it's really quite a flat team structure. Yeah. Hey, Daryl. It's he's not a marketable plushie. The one in the thumbnail is very much a one-off, but he's very cute. If in doubt, keep to the rear of the party. Usually works for me. Wow, you're all saying numbers. You're all saying all sorts of numbers about temperatures. I don't know what any of that means. No, it wouldn't make sense for Lucien to enter the black books with the player. It's very much the player gets pulled into the black books. There isn't really room for a second person in that process. Although I guess, to be fair, Lucien could read it after them. But no, the black book's very much intended as a solo experience, so let's stick with that. Okay, so for this one, we're doing get stage done. Now we said we were on to 110. So we're going to do, let's jump back to the stages and have a look. Oh, nope, Tiny Lucien's stolen the quest window. Tiny Lucien, give it back. You can't have that. No, drop it, or I'll pull your hair. I'm warning you. Drop it. Okay. You must learn your lesson. Let's put it back. Good chap. Have a sweet roll. Right, 140. Hey, Jordan Green, welcome to the stream. You're making a follower mod and you have followers following that follower. How would you go about telling the follower to tell his followers to go wait somewhere? I would just call to go wait somewhere else. It depends on where you want them to wait, but I guess you do that with a package, right? You do that with an AI package, like a travel to location kind of package, and you'd put a condition on that for some kind of quest stage or global variable. And when you want that follower to tell the other followers to go away, you'd set that variable to true or set that stage to being whatever the stage is required for the condition. And then they'd have a package telling them to move away to that other location. Be a bit complicated, though. You've set yourself up for quite a difficult job by doing that. Okay, so we wanted to go to player dialogue. Where were we? Under MISC for the Dragonborn. Now I've created those stages. We got the Freya thing. And we want the stage to be... You're welcome, Jordan. Thanks so much. We'll go with 110 for this one, isn't it? And that has to be 0. Get stage JR Lucien Dragonborn. That's... Oh, maybe we'll say... Yeah, maybe we'll actually use a get stage less than. If you want a tiny Lucien of your own, Lilith Luna, you can download him from the Nexus. He's a MISC file on Lucien's Nexus page. Get stage DLC to MQ01. We're on MQ02 now. We want that to be less than... well, what we want is to now know that Freya is recruited. So I guess that would be after you've spoken to Freya. So would that be greater than 20? Potentially. Let's actually have a look. Let's go back to the quest and have a look at how it's done. Let's go DLC 2 MQ02. There is a Freya Temple scene quest. This just sets up the scene. Okay. Let's have a look at this. Now, what happens at 20? Oh, that's actually fighting Marak. Hence, defeat Marak. Okay, so this is out of order again. I think Batman would win any fight, Reese. Unless he's like against Superman. But yeah. I was successful in defeating Marak. Here we are. Stage 30. I found Freya. She is also searching the Temple of Marak. So we want get stage done 30 equals 1. Is objective displayed. Make Freya the player's ally. Right, set ally player faction. Okay. Yeah, so we want stage 30. Would I place the get stage done conditions on top of item requirement conditions? It doesn't matter which way around you put them, but you want to put the sort of the thing that's true less often at the top. So the game only has to evaluate one condition rather than multiple. So you could say the maybe put the get stage done conditions at the top, because unless the player does that quest, it's never evaluated then. But what you're doing is really a question of A and B or B and A. I'm afraid I don't know either of those mods, Coink King. JR Lucien. Where were I? We were on Dragonborn. And we're going to misc back to the idol, back to the Freya thing. And we decided we wanted DLC, we want a get stage done. DLC to MQ02. And we said that stage was 40. Oh no. This is different. 30. Yeah, get stage done 30. And that has to equal 1. By which point you'll have recruited Freya. Equals 1. And get stage MQ02 less than 40 we don't want. We want that to change now to be oh no, we do want that, because by the time you've reached the black book we don't want Lucien saying welcome to the team, so we can keep the less than 40. And that has to be less than 110. And we want this to only play if you're in the Temple of Merak. Okay, I think that works. Okay, so we've done a welcome to the Team Freya kind of thing. So then you're actually exploring the temple. Now I can at some point give him just general dialogue about the temple. See you, Butane. Thanks for dropping by. Lovely to have you on the stream. Okay, you go through it, you fight Draugr and stuff, various traps. So really the next thing to comment on is the Black Book. And when you get to the Black Book, okay. So that's when we need a conversation. Similar to the Infinium, that thing. So whoa, hold on a second. I really wouldn't touch that. Hang on. I do have Indiana Jones in my head, yes. The Ripchen, will he comment on the dragon aspect, Chow? Probably. We could add something like that at some point. Let's actually look at a Black Book. I'm sure there'll be a picture here. Oh, there isn't one. There they are. Spooky. If that's what I think it is. We really need to think about this. Lucien would never be a vampire. Oh, you're right, Lictorin. Oh, no. You're right, the player might by that time have already seen one or more black books. How do I account for that? I thought this would be so much more straightforward than it's turned out to have been. Oh, blimmin' heck. Black books, black books. We'd have to set comments for each black book. Every single one of them? Oh, I hate it. Yeah, it's not a question of whether you've already seen one, though, Michaela. It's a question of whether Lucien's already seen one. So I would have to do an or condition stack for every single black book. Oh, no, I hate that. Okay. Okay. Hi, Fix-It YOLO. Welcome to the stream. What we could do instead, because that sounds really difficult. Each of the black books have a quest associated with them, don't they? So, if I were to do a get stage for each of those other quests and check none of them are done, then this line at least would be dependent on the black book, on this being your first black book. And then if it isn't your first black book, we can just have him be quiet, rather than try and work out whether he was with you for any one of the other black book quests, because that just sounds horrific. So, yeah, that's what we'll do. Oh, do they not each have quests? I'm sure there's something that keeps track of the black books you've read. The black book quests only go from 3 to 7, starting at DLC 2 Black Book 03 quest. They do all have quests. Surely UESP will tell us. Black Book, Filament and Filigree. Black Book, The Sallow Region. Black Book, Untold Legends. Black Book. Okay, so there are all quests associated with each of them. So, no, quests in the books is fine. It's fine. So, we'll do that, and we'll add a get stage for each of the black books to check the quest hasn't been. Yeah, okay. If we go Black Book, The Winds of Change, and we go Black Book, The Hidden Twilight, and we go Black Book, Filament and Filigree, and The Sallow Regent, and Untold Legends. Oh, and Lost Knowledge. Oh, this gets harder and harder. Hey, Batty, welcome to the stream. Right, okay. DLC 2, Black Book 4, Black Book 7, Black Book 6, Black Book 5, Black Book 3, and then also Lost Knowledge. Oh, but Lost Knowledge will only start... Oh, no. Lost Knowledge, yeah, he'll have already explained about Black Books. Okay. Yes, I am working on Dragonborn commentary, Batty, and it's becoming a total pain. Okay, we're going to go... Get stage. Well, you say the black books remain in the inventory forever. I wouldn't want to depend on that because I'm sure there are mods that probably make it possible for you to put them down. DLC 2. So if we go Black Book 03 quest and we say... If we look at each of them and look down at their actual stage breakdowns... Let's actually look at them in the CK. DLC 2, Black Book 03 quest. Stages. Ah. Oh, okay. Each of them completes at 20. So if I say less than 20, I know that they haven't been completed, and I assume if they've been started, you're already in the black book. So if you haven't completed it, you're not out the black book yet. So we can use less than 20 as a condition check on them. Okay, if we have a look over here, 20, 20, and then Untold Legends, 20, and then Lost Knowledge. Oh, this is the recurring one. Okay, let's just not worry about this. We'll just do the Black Book quests. Okay. You can leave a Black Book at any time and come back. Oh, can you? Oh. Oh, no. Then we can do Get Stage Done 10. Get Stage Done 10. Right? Because the quest hasn't started yet. That stage hasn't been done yet. So the objective hasn't yet been displayed. Right? I think so. Let's try it. Okay. We'll move that down to the bottom. And I just realized I said think twice in that sentence. That's clunky writing. But let's say Get Stage Done. DLC 2 Black Book 03 quest 10 equals 0. And we're going to copy this for all of the Black Book quests. So 4, 5, 6, 7. Because we said there were 7 of them that aren't part of the main quest chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it goes up to 7. So between 4 and 7. 3 and 7, so that's 5. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay. Okay. Black Book 04 quest 10, 0. Black Book 05 quest 10, 0. Black Book 06 quest 10, 0. Okay, so he'll only initiate this if you haven't seen any of the other black books or haven't entered any of the other black books. which should help make sure the line makes sense. Okay, so the get stage is now, this is going to be his 120. And that's 120. The get stage done. Hang on. Let's go back to the main. Let's go back to the actual quest now. Where is it? Temple of Merak. When does it say read the black book? That is 40. So we want get stage equals 40. And then you need to be in the Temple of Merak still, and all of that's got to be true. And by that point, you'll have the black book, so it should be fine. So that then sets 120, which then leads to some player dialogue, which will be about black books. And A1. And this will be blocking dialogue. So if you talk to Lucien after he's said that, he'll lock you into some dialogue. Right. If I'm not mistaken, that there is a black book. Property of Hermaeus Mora. Hey Varlock, Sacralicious, welcome to the stream. Which means we need to be very, very careful. That is a very broad question, Michaela. How do you go about, when you say quick question, that is the opposite of a quick question. How do you go about writing a character for a follower in terms of backstory, personality, etc., and make them feel like an actual person in the real world? Boy, that's a big old question. Thank you so much for the super chat, Konomono. Really glad you like Lucien. Thank you so much for the support. Thanks. Which means we need to be very, very careful. Okay, and that we need to say get stage. Why is that so slow? And we're going JR Lucien Dragonborn has to be equal to 120. That's the specific point you can have this conversation. And then when this happens, we'll say get owning quest dot set stage 130. So if you exit the dialogue, it won't start again. And then we'll make some options. Dragonborn, Black Book 1, B1. It's alright. I'm Hermaeus Mora's champion. That is the opposite of all right. You've already sold your soul. to old tentacle face. If you read that book and enter his realm, you might never come back. And this one I need to condition on discerning the transmundane. Thank you so much for the super chat, Tactical Shadows. Oops, there we go. I'm so glad I could help. Happy Pride Month to you too. And then we want get stage. And I want to find discerning the transmundane. I think that's what it's called, isn't it? And then oh, okay. We need get stage done. And then that is 100. Oh, and what is it called? It's DAO4. Oh, that's so fun, Powmow Super. You added a Lucien-like character to your D&D game where he curates a museum. An AU Lucien would love to curate a museum. Look, I can't stop you either way. But please, be careful, won't you? In the Lucien mod, when Lucien interacts with Inigo, Inigo asks, do you have a partner, Lucien? Does he really have a partner? I think Lucien's perfectly clear in that interaction. He might never let you go. There you go, and that's the end of that interaction. And then we'll have an alternative option. B2. It's just a book. What can possibly go wrong? Everything! Everything could go wrong. Everything I've read about those books suggest reading them will transport you to Apocrypha, which is not a nice place. Oh, let's change that wording. Everything I've heard about those books. Will there be dialogue for if he was with you for the vanilla Hermamora quest? I don't see why it should be different at this point, necessarily. If I come to a conversational thing where I feel like it should be different, depending on whether or not you've already met Hermamora, then we can maybe change it. But at the moment, I think this works. No, you're not going to get more dialogue with Inigo. That was very much, that was an opportunity which was amazing, but it's probably not something we're likely to revisit. There is already dialogue for the base game Hermamora quest, yes. Thank you so much for becoming a channel member, Cleo. Cleo the Death Munchkin. I really appreciate the support. Thank you. Hope to see you on some of the members-only streams. Does Lucien have Apocrypha dialogue? No, because he can't go there. Look, I can't stop you either way, but just be careful. Black Book 1B3. Thanks, Lucien. I'll be on my guard. Yeah, no, you're right about the FAQ thing, Starrel and everyone. I mean, yes, I could have an FAQ page, but I think all that would mean is I'd spend the whole stream, rather than answering the questions, I'd spend the whole stream saying, read the FAQ, read the FAQ. And it kind of takes almost as many words to just answer the question. So, doesn't make a lot of difference, really. That is such a relief to hear. Thanks for the question, Fixer. I'm not sure I like the way that's phrased. What is your honest opinion of Kaiden? With honest in capital letters? It sounds like you're trying to get me to be mean about it? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into that too much. But I'm certainly not about to criticize other mods. I think Kaiden's a wonderful piece of work. Such a relief to hear. I know, it's up to you whether or not you read it, but if you do, wherever it takes you, please come back. If nothing else, I'd get awfully chilly standing down here by myself. Oh no, because Freya's with him actually. I mean, Freya seems lovely. Because Freya's still with you at that point, isn't he? Every time you write Lucien's dialogue, you do it in his voice. Do I? That would make sense. Oh, of course you do. Right. And there you go. So those are your options. And that is going to be a goodbye. And that is going to be a goodbye. Lucien doesn't have unique dialogue if there's just any book in his inventory, but he can read you a specific number of books. You can't use AFT on Lucien, it'll break him. Oh, do I picture it in Lucien's voice? I mean, yeah, it's Lucien who's saying it, so I try and only write lines that would sound natural coming out of Lucien's mouth. I don't think he'd admit it, Varlock. I don't think he'd admit to being tempted. But yes. Yes, he'd be tempted. I think it's one of his biggest dangers. I think that's, if he's honest, I think that's part of why he's so scared by the concept, why he's telling you to be careful and anything. I think this to him is the most dangerous of the Daedric Prince interactions of any kind. That promise of infinite knowledge that's right there and so accessible. Anyway, there we go. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him an approval bonus for that and also for completing the previous stage bit. So let's go. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. It's been a while since I last did it. Let's save. I mean, just as a general heads up, if you use any follower mods, any follower management mods, I can't provide technical support if you run into issues with Lucien. I just can't. Hey, Smorable. Oh, I love that name. That's so fun to say. Smorable. Smorable. Hello, Smorable. Welcome to the stream. I'm so glad you're able to tune in. Right, so it's Lucien functions, and it's inc dp stat, I think. So if I go Dragonborn, and we go stages, and we go, let's make a, what was this? We wanted 100 and, when do we have this conversation? This is 100 and, well, let's add one for 110 for now, if we're getting that far. And we'll go okay, and save and close. And then I can go properties. Oh no, I've got to put something in there first, haven't I? Compile. Then press OK, and then reopen it, and then I can add properties. And then we can go add property of type Lucien functions. And the name is going to be JR Lucien follower. And that should default to being the right quest. Yeah, there we go. And then I can go, let's say 110, JR Lucien follower dot inc dp stat, and we'll give you a bonus of, let's just give you like 2 approval for that. And then we'll give you another one. Actually, no, we'll just give it at that point. And then we'll give you an opportunity for a little bit more. If we make a new stage, if we go back to the stages. Hold up, what do you mean all over Reddit? What's all over Reddit? Nope, dead man's drink crashing as soon as you open door is not common for Lucien. There's nothing that would in particular cause that. Dead man's drink crashing as soon as you open the door, that's going to be caused by something else. The presence of an NPC in a room will not cause a crash. Okay, so that didn't work. How far along is this update in its development? Literally, what do you mean by how far along, Noctur? What did I do wrong there anyway? Oh, no, of course. IncDP stat 02. Look, all I can tell you is that if there were a problem with me adding Lucien to a cell anywhere, then it would have been, you know, Lucien's been downloaded a heck of a lot of times, you know, that would have occurred beforehand. So I can tell you whatever it is, I can tell you with pretty darn high certainty that it's not my mod. No, but you were saying it's a conflict with my mod, and it just isn't, you know? It isn't. There's no way putting an NPC in a cell can conflict with something. It's just not how it works. So it must be some other combination of mods you've got, or some other mod affecting it in some way. But no. Right. Anyway, so where was I with this? We had the IncDP stat working now, and I wanted to add the stage for that thing. For if you chose that option, I wanted to run another quest stage. That was it. And then we're going to wrap up, I think, because I'm coming to the end. Is this the absolute beginning of this new part of Lucien's Dragonborn Interactions? Yes, we literally began as part of this stream. We started it at the beginning of the stream. So we'll go down to here. And here I want to add a... Oh, actually, let's just check where we were before. I think this was 140. Oh, no, 120 and sets the stage to 130. So if we make a new one, which is 140... and we go get owning quest dot set stage. That's it, 140 if you choose the nice option. And we go round to 140 down here. I actually envisage Lucien's dad as being a more bookish Indiana Jones, especially in his youth. I like to think of Davidicus as being on artifact retrieval, breaking into tombs and things, maybe wearing a hat. Lucien's never been like that, but I like that image. JR Lucien follower .inc dp stat, and we'll give you another 2 approval if you pick that option. There we go. Tactical Shadows Dadidicus. I love that. Dadvidicus. Dave. Anyway. That's what I was going to do if I ever got around to doing the another Flavius Chronicle, which is still on my list to do at some point. I was going to do one about his dad, and it was going to be about his dad on artifact retrieval when he was younger. I'd like to still do that. Right. Okay. I think that's all done now then. So I think I should be able to save. Dadvidius Flavius. Oh yeah, it'll definitely come up, Christy, just a bit later on. I don't think it's the time to bring it up straight away at this point, when you haven't even been in one yet. Okay. Right. That, I think, brings us to the end of the stream, because I am hungry. We've been going 3 hours. 3 hours and written like 6 lines. But, yeah, we're going to... Oh, look at all the chat coming up again. We're going to, yeah, we're going to probably call it there. I haven't got a routine yet for these new streams. I haven't got a schedule together. We will be doing more of these. We're also going to be playing Dragon Age, and we're going to be playing Oblivion. I don't know when and in what order, but do tune in for those. I'm also going to be doing some members-only streams where we're going to be recording the next tutorial episode. So tune in for that if you're a channel member. And, yeah, otherwise, check out the Treacle People if you haven't done already. I'd really appreciate it. If you could check out, yeah, the Treacle People YouTube channel, which is the TV show that I was launching that my dad originally worked on. And it's a really lovely, wholesome series. And if you want to do anything to support me, I would be really grateful if you could check out the Treacle People. Links in the chat and in the description down below. Please do have a watch and a subscribe. It'll mean the world to me. And yeah, stay marvelous. And I will see you next time. Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.